I've got an outline here just so that we have some sort of structure to it and we know what we're covering. So we're going to talk about story. We're going to talk about doing a briefing, and then we'll cover stuff like in the editor. So basically, everything onwards is going to be in the editor, so we won't have to worry about the PowerPoint and stuff. It's just going to be like the difference between playable and unplayable units, spawning in structures like single structures or compositions from the workshop or just from the vanilla game. We'll talk about setting up an arsenal. A couple things from ACE, like the refueling, rearming, and medical facilities, and then we'll go into respawns, which are pretty important and can be a bit fiddly sometimes. And then lastly, we'll go through mission settings and modules. Now, mission settings and modules is like, you can do it yourself really, because you just like go through them and do the settings to how you want it. Not everyone will do it the same, but I'll kind of just roughly go over what they mean. Cool. So the idea of this is to help you learn skills and stuff for making your own unofficial ops, because we've noticed like a lot of people are saying that they want to, do ops and stuff, and you need like a Zeus to do it, or like maybe you don't know how to set up the mission file. The idea is that this will help you with that. So that's our goal. Cool. So we'll start with the idea, forming a plan. I just want to start with talking about immersion, because immersion is a really important part of mission making. You got to keep it in your mind basically every time you place down a unit or you make a decision that alters the mission in any way, because like it's just like, if you've ever experienced it where you're just like walking along in your mission and then suddenly you just see something pop into existence or disappear, it can be pretty jarring. So we try and keep that in our minds all the time. So when you're creating a story, the things to think about. We want to think about who, what, when, where, and why. Now it depends, because like if you're doing just like a quick made up mission, like you're making it like 30 minutes before you do the mission, just something to throw together so people can play something, you might not be too worried about the story. This is more for like stuff where you're going to be doing like a campaign or something more detailed that you're going to put more time into. You want it to be like a narrative. So we'll go into each one shortly, but you kind of just imagine that you're in the situation. The best thing to do is look for real life examples, or use movies and stuff like that as references. Your best friend is probably going to be the internet. Looking up YouTube videos, watching movies, stuff like that. Got a couple examples there. They can be really, really helpful. If you want to achieve the like best immersion, you're best off doing your research beforehand. And that's like if you're trying to focus on doing like a pretty closely based to reality sort of mission. Whereas if you're doing like an alternate reality, like, oh, you're from the future and you're going back to World War II, then you kind of don't have to worry about it too much, obviously, in that aspect. But maybe the aspects to do with World War II, you might focus on like using realistic assets and realistic environments, stuff like that. So that's sort of stuff that you got to think about. Any questions with the story, like that sort of stuff?
No, I'm all good.
No.
Job's good.
Sweet as. If you need me to slow down, just let me know. Cool beans. So we're going to talk about the setting. So, again with immersion, you want to put yourself in the position of the player. You want to think of yourself as if you're playing the mission. What do you want it to be like? What do you want the experience to be like? Say you're playing in a snow environment, maybe having snow effects and stuff like that, or you could add like a blizzard, or it's kind of that whole setting the mood. Is it going to be a chaotic mood? Like, say you're doing a D-Day mission, right? You might have like a whole bunch of AI like shooting and explosions going off, stuff like that. Um, it's almost like you're making a movie, but you want it to be an interactive experience. So that's kind of just stuff that I think about when I'm making my missions. Again, this is more for like if you're doing the campaigns and stuff, or like more detailed missions. Factions. So when you're thinking about your story, this is like all the things you think about when you're preparing your mission. So you want to be thinking about, okay, if I'm going to have a storyline, I want to have factions in it. There has to be some reason why we're there. So we got the friendlies, neutral, and enemy factions. Sometimes you can have like independent factions as well. So they're like friendly to us unless we do something to them, is usually how it goes. But generally you want to outline who the friendlies are, who's neutral, like who are there civilians, or are there independent forces, and then you also want to specify who the enemy is. Cool. So we're going to talk about our mission a little bit. So this lesson we're going to make a mission together in the editor, just so we're all on the same page and you can go ask questions and whatnot. Okay, we're going to talk about our story. So these are the questions you want to ask yourself when you're making the story. Who will we be playing as, and who are we against? Alright, can you see my armor now?
Yes.
Yep.
Sweet as. Alright, so we're going to have a look at the factions. Now, we have a mod at the moment which adds a whole bunch of Op4 factions, which is pretty cool. And it just uses the RHS as like a dependency, so it uses the RHS weapons and whatnot. Generally, I like to stay away from the vanilla armor stuff, because if you're playing with mods, you might as well use them. So we can see here, these are all the like factions. So you got Blue 4, Op 4, Independent, Civilian. So together we're going to decide what we want our Blue 4 faction to be. Okay, so we're playing as SOCOM. Now we're going to talk about our enemies. So who will be our hostile force? Alright, so we got a whole bunch here. Now, when you're thinking about your hostile force, it's going to vary. Different tactics will vary between them. So if I'm playing as Boko Haram, I'm not going to be using like fighter jets and modern technology, really, right? So when you're choosing your faction, you got to think about that stuff as well. Middle Eastern militia.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. And now we want to pick a. Now, do we want an independent force or not? Probably not, just to save time. But that is something you can think about. Generally, it's like, oh, there was a split in power, and there was a coup or something, and then you're fighting for one side to regain power or whatever. Like, that's generally how it goes. But anyway, you can get creative with how you make your stories. I'll leave that to you. Okay, we'll briefly talk about what they're doing. Come up with like a brief idea, but because we're going to talk about this later on when we go into the briefing. But we kind of just want like a general gist of what's going on. Like, will it be, there's like a terrorist group, and we're there to support the civilians and suppress any counter-terrorism stuff, or I don't know, or you're like rescuing, or like, what is it? What's it called? That SEAL Team 6, fucking Osama bin Laden raid or whatever. Like,
Oh, the one where they, after 9/11, they sent like a special
Yeah,
team.
exactly. Like whatever you want it to be, you can do. Um,
Sending Chris Hemsworth.
yeah, exactly. Something to consider with that, with the what you're doing, is you gotta keep in mind how many people you might be anticipating. Because, like, say you want to like capture a whole country, right? Think about it. If you only have like a group of 5 people, like, yeah, you could pull it off with some Zeus magic and keeping one hand behind your back. But realistically speaking, if you're going up against a conventional army with 5 dudes, it's not going to be too great. That's just something to think about. But you can make it work.
Marvel did it.
Hey?
Marvel did it.
Yeah, exactly. So, let's see. What do we want to do? What do we want our players to be doing? Just throw some mission ideas out there.
Since we're so calm, I was thinking that we have gathered intel on the location of a high-value target in the southern side of whatever map, let's say Pakistan. But like they did in the US, we need to infiltrate behind their enemy lines, and it basically kind of like a stealth mission since so calm. So our objective would be to locate the HVT and take him out. We will not be able to use any kind of support assets due to it being a stealth mission.
Okay.
So we kind of have to like be stealth, and if the militia are aware of our location, that will send heavy waves of reinforcements and make it much harder. That's just a quick idea I have.
Yeah,
I guess.
that's good. That's pretty good.
What Gobe said.
Anyone else want to spit some ideas? This is your opportunity, because then we can like give you feedback and
do
stuff.
the whole was it the Rising Sun? What is it? No, hang on. One with Bruce Willis in it, where they've gone in to rescue the citizen and they get chased by the whole African militia.
Maybe even like a Black Hawk Down situation. So a friendly Black Hawk has been taken down at a certain location of the map, and they're getting attacked by heavy waves of enemy fire or militia trying to. And basic objective is to go in, rescue the crew and whoever's alive, and basically destroy any kind of intel that they could get on from that chopper. So basically rescue the crew, set up explosive charges, blow it up, and get the hell out of there.
Yeah,
I like the search and rescue idea.
pretty cool.
Yep, sweet.
All right, are we happy with search? Is everyone happy with search and rescue then? That's pretty easy.
Peace.
Cool. All right, we'll do that. Where are they? So where do we want to set? Do we want to set in like the Middle East? So we got a couple maps to choose from. Now
Irani.
Sarani is
Pakistan.
a good one. Like, you'd probably, because of the factions we've picked, they're probably going to be sort of like arid-ish environments. So like Sarani, Pakistan, wherever you want. There you are, Pakistan.
Yeah, done.
You guys happy with Pakistan? Or...
Yep.
Okay. Alright, let's place our dudes down. Alright, so Pakistan. When do we want it set? So do we want it set like back in like 2003, or do we want it set like current day?
If it's a mission like this, I was thinking, yeah, like, well, I don't have a proper timeline, but modern day, so
Okay.
around that, I guess 2010, 2003-ish.
So yeah, modernish. Okay.
Yeah, just go modern.
Cool. And why are we doing it? Well, we kind of talked about that. Because we have hostages, so that's our objective. The why is like, what is our objective? The what is like, what are they doing is like, sort of what are the enemies and doing, like what's going on in the area. Yeah, that's our story. Done. We already know basically an outline of what we're going to be doing. Now, if you were doing a short mission, like just like throwing it together quickly, you could go off and make a mission in Zeus out of this. You don't, like, if you didn't have the time to do a briefing and whatnot, you could just make a mission straight out of this. But we'll go into detail about like how to do the briefings and stuff as well, just so you guys know in case you want to do it. Cool. So our setting. So the setting, we're going to talk about looking in the map. So what I do when I'm looking for places to do my mission is I'll open my map and I'll have a look around. Now, because we're going to be doing like a HVT rescue, we have two options. We can use a pre-existing town, so like something like this, or you know, any town on the map, or we can be like, oh, you know, they've transported him to like a hideout, and then you end up like placing down your own like base, or like building your own base for the militia. Or you can do both, really. You could say that, you know, he, like, or whoever, the HVT was in the town, and then you get there and it's like, oh, they're not in the town, and then you find intel saying that they've been relocated. You know, stuff like that that extends the mission if you wanted to. So, for the purposes of this, because we're going to talk about compositions later, we're just going to say that they have taken the HVT to like a base of some sort. Now, where are we thinking? Where do we want to sort of chuck the base? So
In the oil field.
In the oil field. We have two options with starting areas. We can do the southern airfield or the northern airfield. The northern airfield's pretty big.
Well, I'm happy here. Up to you guys.
Is it the militia taking the HVT?
Yeah, so the militia has taken the HVT, and we're gonna rescue them.
Since it's a basically insurgent forces, and they're basically not that well geared.
Mm-hmm.
How they're dressed up, they wouldn't have a proper base. So I think it'd be more like a few, like, well, what they have here, which look like mud huts.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no, I'm talking about for us.
I'm on. Oh, a base for us.
Yeah, to start, like for where we're gonna be starting. Or we don't even have to start from a base if you don't want. You can start from anywhere.
We can have an FOB around the middle of the map, I say, maybe. So where there would be, let's say, an imaginary border between insurgent controlled area, like maybe Firuzabad. It's like around there somewhere.
Dante, you're gonna say something?
Actually, in Firuzabad, there's already a pre-made base.
I wasn't going to say, but I'd say you probably want to be in a hidden spot up in the hill somewhere so you're not observed so quickly.
Yeah, because it is like a covert special team. They might not want to be so close to civilians. But you could make that the whole thing where you like gotta stay like inconspicuous, like unmarked vehicles, stuff like that.
Up that road as well, there's like a little factory looking thing. Yeah, this road, there's like a little factory looking thing.
Oh, yeah.
Make it like a temporary FOB.
The one thing that we've got to think about with the map is, you said like a front, yeah? Like where the enemies are and where the friendlies are, there's like a line, right?
Yep.
Now, what do you want that line to look like? Because sometimes like just putting it on the map helps like the people in the mission as well sort of know the boundaries of like, oh shit, this is enemy territory, and you know.
I think it shouldn't be a straight line. It should be staggered.
It's never a straight
like roads, line. Like different.
Yeah, it's usually like roads or
stuff,
contours, stuff like that.
Yeah. What if like anything east of the Firuzabad road that goes north? That's
so
enemy.
Anything east?
Yeah. So we're still in friendly line, but anything east of Firuzabad is. Yeah.
5, yeah. Now I know I'm doing a straight line, but this is for convenience. How about that? Okay, they're janky, alright, but you get the idea.
Yep.
Copy that. How's that look?
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
it's good enough for now.
Yeah, this is just so we know what's friendly, what's not. Okay, so I'm gonna put a marker just here. Okay, oh sorry, I should have said at the top here you got objects, compositions, triggers, waypoints, systems, and then markers on the right. Now you got icons, which are just like your normal like map markers, like the shapes and stuff. I usually use the standard military ones just here. But you can also use area ones, which is what I used for this, like these lines. These are just like shapes, and then there's like a couple hotkeys. So up here, the toolbar, you can see no widget, and like all this crap. If you press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the hotkeys for them. So that's kind of a thing that I wish I knew early on, but yeah. If you use the area widget, which is what I use for the bars, you can stretch and whatnot, rotate pretty easily. Otherwise, you would have to double click on it and then enter in here the size you want. So keep that in mind. Oh, also while you're in here, you can change the color. Stuff like that. If you wanted.
Oh yeah.
That's how we do it. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so we decided on our starting point. Now where do we want our objective? So we said it was behind enemy lines, so that's fine. We can do that. What are we thinking? Do we think they'll drive there? Because that's got to be something we consider. How far it is away from them.
Garmzar.
This one here?
Yeah, there's like a little base there.
Oh, I've used this one before. I think everyone has, to be honest. This one here, this base?
Yeah.
So you want this one to be the militia's base?
Yes.
Okay. And this is where the HVT will be?
Yes.
Okay. Objective. Cool. Alrighty. No, it's not what I want. This one. I'm just going to change the color to pop 4. Okay. Oh yeah, do we want them to drive? Because it's actually not that far of a drive, and it makes sure that the mission isn't like 2 seconds. So you can like hit them with ambushes and stuff like that. I know it's meant to be covert, but I'm talking about like other stuff. I mean,
IEDs.
you could do IEDs, you could do checkpoints where they're gonna like pretend to be normal people or whatever. Like that's sort of where you can introduce RP and stuff.
Only a 4K walk.
Yeah, you reckon walk?
Big hill there. Good Overwatch position.
There's like a little hill where you can like, yes, like Dante said, set up a Overwatch at, I think, Girder. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
good.
there's no approach point there.
That is true.
You could
Well, there
you
is
could
approach
almost
point,
like
it's not a very good
drive up to the hill,
True.
and then
Yeah.
dismount, and then like if they wanted, they'd leave their vehicle. That is
Another hill. I don't get grid cords on this.
other people can give input, you know. Come on, guys.
Hey guys, I don't want to give all the ideas. I fucking feel selfish as fuck doing this.
Nah, good. I like sitting back and just watching everything. So
Okay. As long as you guys are learning, there's no point
I am,
like
no,
just
I'm-
watching and not saying anything because, like, I want you guys to actually come out of this with something. Like,
It's always fun trying to do a paradrop and always watching one person not pull a chute.
oh god. Now, yeah, with paradrops, like, it's real dodgy, but it can be fun. But far out, man.
I've had bad experiences with paradrops.
I think we all have. It's just armor, bro. Alright, so I think we're just gonna go with the drive, and we'll figure out how they'll like execute the mission later in the briefing, but they'll do something along the lines of drive towards there, and get that HVT. And then once they've got the HVT, like, depending on the situation, they can get it exfilled by helicopter or whatever. A lot of this stuff is flexible with like what happens on the night. Like the best thing to do with your missions is always keep an open mind and like make sure that your plan is flexible. Have a plan B because anything can go wrong, you know. A lot of the time people will go into the mission and be like, oh, I want the mission to be done this exact way. And if it doesn't get done this exact way, then the whole mission doesn't work. So you just gotta keep that in mind. You're dealing with people, and people aren't always gonna be reliable. Like it's like I know it's rough, but like it's true. Like when you're talking about missions and stuff, and you expect stuff to be done a certain way, like don't always expect it to be done perfectly because people aren't perfect. You know what I mean? Okay,
Yes.
just me.
I know what you mean.
Alright, briefing. So, I like to follow this structure. I'm not saying you have to follow this structure. We use this structure for our briefings, like for our ops. You don't have to, again, you don't have to do this exactly the same. You can take parts of it if you want to. But I'm just going to explain what it all means. So, situation. So, sorry, this is called a SMIAC. That's the abbreviation, SMIAC. So S for situation. This is your opportunity to basically talk about your story. What is happening? What is going on in the situation? Okay, so a situation can be as elaborate as you want or as simple as you want. I wrote up like a short paragraph for a situation, like just as an example. So, overnight, the enemy ambushed an American platoon just north of OBJ Alpha. The platoon needs urgent assistance. You and your section have been deployed to Altus to assist friendly forces. It can be as simple as that. You're saying, you know, what's happening, and that's like the important thing. Any questions with situation?
Oh, good.
no,
Nope.
good man.
That makes sense.
Sweet. Alright, mission. So with the mission, you want to keep it to one or two sentences. This is like what you're trying to achieve. Not necessarily how you're going to achieve it, just what you achieve. So for my example one, I did mission is to secure and extract the American forces. I say again, secure and extract the American forces. It should just be clear, concise, and specific. Now, this is up to you, but the way I was taught SMIACs is when you're specifying a mission, this can be used in like, by the way, like the SMIAC template, it can be used whenever you're giving any orders, when you're in field or written orders. So like, as a habit for when you're delivering orders like this, like verbally in field, you will say the mission twice just to make sure everyone's on the same page and understood it. But yeah, you don't have to do that when it's in writing. Alright, execution. So how are we going to achieve our mission? So this is where you'll see where you'll outline what steps you'll follow to complete the mission. You'll notice in our briefings, we usually just specify in order usually what will happen. So it's just like an outline of events, because on the night the plan might be different, or depending on numbers and stuff like that, it'll be a little bit different. So keep your execution a little bit flexible. Your briefing can also include actions on. If you've ever heard of actions on, it's basically just what to do in case of an event. So examples would be losing communication or accidentally killing the HVT, which can happen, believe it or not. So that's where you would put it in. If this happens, do this. Yeah, there you go. There's your actions on. So, am I hungry? Yes. Then do this. Admin logistics. This is where I put any supplies or equipment that they'll get. This is where you'll talk about resupplies. So, how will they get resupplies? Will they get resupplies? You said that they won't be getting any support. Put that in there, because assets available. They won't have assets available because they're trying to be covert, stuff like that. But obviously, like, if they need it, then they can probably get it, but you want to avoid it. That's kind of admin and logistics. It's pretty straightforward. Command and signals. This is where I like to put a list of positions available, so people can see what they can do, and then they put their name down, and like, that's it. Everyone knows that this person's doing this. It just makes it easier organizing people on the night as well. How they'll communicate. So what frequencies are we going to be on? Who's in charge? What call signs will we be using? It's all the information you want to include. And then extra information. So in my briefing, I include a little bit extra information outside of the SMIAC. So I've got event details. So when am I running the operation? What time I want people to get there, and what time I want to start the operation. Then I've got a mod list. So I've uploaded this to Google Drive, my HTML file. If you don't know how to create a HTML file from a mod list, I'll show you after. And then all I've done is I've gotten that exported HTML, put it in Google Drive, and just got a link to it. And then people can just download it off the document. Alright. I believe that is it for the theoretical side and the briefing side. The first thing you want to do when you're making a mission file is you want to make sure that you've loaded with the correct mods. Because if you start making a mission with certain mods that you don't end up using later on, it can cause issues with your mission file. So, say you make a mission with like cup, and then you end up using our ATOG mods, which doesn't have cup. When you try and run that mission, it'll say that it requires cup, and you won't be able to play the mission. So, double check that you've got the correct mods loaded before you start making a mission. Now, there is a way that you can convert that mission file that has like other mods on it to the current mod set you have, but all the stuff that was from that mod that's missing will disappear. So say you have like a whole bunch of units and buildings and stuff placed down, it'll all disappear if it's from another mod. So just keep that in mind, it's really important if you don't want to have issues. The other thing is, no, that was it. Okay, in the main menu, you can open up your editor, so I'll copy these guys. We already know what we're doing on the mission file, so it's fine. But if you don't know how to open an editor, it's on the right side here, or if this isn't here, because some mods get rid of it, you can go single player, editor. Alright. Select your map. Now the first thing I like to do when I'm in my map, and I'm making a mission file, is save. Now, I save my mission straight away so that it creates the file. If you start building without saving, it'll like delete it if your game crashes or something. Because it doesn't create a file straight away. You have to make it first and then it will save it to the file. So just keep that in mind. Another thing I do is untick binarized scenario file, just because it makes life easier later on if you're sharing the mission file.
Say untick it.
Yeah, untick it.
Yeah, sweet.
Basically, binarizing it just like encrypts it so other people can't use it.
Okay.
But if you're sharing it to like us and say something's wrong with it and we need to fix it real quick, we want it unbinarized so that we can fix it for you if we need to.
Yeah, sweet.
So I'm going to save, and then that's ready to go. I can place down a unit, click save, and if I go to open, I called it lesson, I can just open it and it'll bring up my guy. Alright, so we'll talk about the user interface a little bit as well, just so you can become familiar with it. A lot of it, just play around in your own time and you'll kind of figure out what does what. But starting from the left and at the top, you got this top bar. In the top left you got scenario. All this stuff is like your files, like in Word and shit. So save, open, you publish to workshop. We'll talk about exporting later on when we're finished with the mod, the mission file. But this is something that you will use, export. And then merge is what I use when I have a mission file that has mods that I don't have on. It just transfers everything over that it can. That's basically what merging is. And then you got the shortcuts here. So this is all stuff, and I talked about these before, the tools. So on the left side here, this like bar here, you have basically everything on the mission file. You can see everything that has been spawned, anything except for like map props, like the hangar and the building and anything that was a part of the map originally. So if I place a drone, it'll come up here. Then if I place a ammo bearer from Independent, it'll come up in the top left saying Independent and everyone that's Independent. Same thing with like civilian and stuff. It'll create its own like little category folder. And then for props, say I want to place a runway marker, it'll go under empty. So how it works is you have blue 4, op 4, independent, civilian, and then props. Any prop will go into the empty folder. So if you're ever looking for like a prop and you can't find it on the map, you can always look for it in here. You got a search bar as well, so if I want runway, it'll come up there. Just a little thing. And then like if you hover your like mouse here, it has a little helper, so it tells you like shortcuts for finding certain things. But yeah, that's the left side. Then the right side, we've gone through this before, but you've got all your assets, so all the stuff that you can spawn. Now this like single person like icon, the objects one, means you're spawning single stuff. So like one guy, or you know, one A10. If I go to the next one, the compositions, this is like groups of stuff. So say I want to spawn a rifle squad. You can see here, it will spawn a squad. So this is where if you're spawning like mass groups of people, this is kind of what it just makes life faster, and it kind of like gives you like different classes already made for the dudes. So say for our our SOCOM dudes down here, we have US SOCOM, and then infantry, and we have like teams already made up. So we got element and a team, and a sniper element. We'll probably use the what was this one? Element? No, team. We'll probably use the team. Kind of depends on how many people you're expecting, really. Maybe we use the element, just so it's smaller. And then I like to have extra units placed down. So, let's talk about really quickly the playable and non-playable units. So we have some dudes placed down here. I'm just going to move them closer to each other. Okay. Sorry, is everyone keeping up? Am I going too fast?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got like these two like sections here. Now, at the moment, these guys, if I click in the bottom right, play scenario, single player, I'm the only playable unit. Everyone else is an AI. Right? Now, I'll show you why. So if you have a look, at first glance you can see that these guys don't have that red circle that the front dude has here. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yep.
So the red circle means that if you double click on the dude with the red circle and you go down to control, you can see that he's been designated player and playable. So player is only really relevant in single player, like it says. That just means that that is the one unit that you want being used. Now, in multiplayer, you don't need this because you're going to have multiple players. So you want playable. So you click that, and that means he'll change to purple or like a pink. So he'll still be the only playable unit because he's the only one with it selected. So if I click on this guy, he hasn't got playable selected, so he'll still be an AI. Now, a fast way to set everyone to playable is what I did was I clicked on this like little squad icon on top of them, or on the left side, you can click like the squad thing, the squad like folder, and it'll select everyone in that squad. And I double click the squad, and then I'll scroll down till I get to control. And now it's blanked out here, and I've got a little like tick box here. And that's because one person is playable and everyone else isn't playable. So it's like, oh, not everyone's the same. So are you sure you want to like change it? And we want to change it so everyone's the same. So we're going to click that box and then click playable. And then we click OK. And now everyone in this section is purple, which means that they're going to be playable. This is how we make the slots for the server. As long as we have people with this purple circle and they're playable, it means that we'll have slots on the server. So now if I go play and then play multiplayer in the top, so you can choose like spectator, single player, stuff like that in the top. I'm going to click play in multiplayer, and then this is like where you can host a server and whatnot. I'm just going to host it on LAN, it doesn't matter, just for testing. And it'll bring us to like as if we're joining the server, and it'll take forever to load. And there we go. We got some slots. So this is the section that we just changed to playable. And you'll notice that they say AI. That's because of setting. It doesn't mean that like they'll always have AI in it. It's just saying that if there's no player in it, then it'll be controlled by an AI. And you can disable that from here, like that. But we'll go into the settings later to make it like permanently not have AI, so we can not have to click each individual one. So if I click on this one and no one else is an AI and I join the server, you'll see, continue, you'll see that there's like no one from my section. This is the other section that is still AI. And that's why when you join the server, like our deployment server, you don't see like a million units all like running around as AI. Because they're set to playable units only. So they won't spawn in unless there's a player in it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. So we've got one section that's playable. We're going to make the other section playable, so we'll double click on them and scroll down. And because all of them aren't playable, we don't have to click that box on the side. We'll just click playable there. Okay. And now we're going to save. Remember to save all the time. Otherwise, your game will crash and you'll cry.
Quick question.
Yes.
So when you go to make the like normal missions, do you just have them all stacked on each other?
No. What happens is if a player's inside of another player, they get stuck. And generally it ends in one of them having to shoot the other.
That's the fun part.
Yeah. So, yeah. Try and avoid having them inside of each other. Because if two people load in at the same time and they're like in the same spot, then they'll get stuck. I like to keep them like in nice formation so I know which, like, I can remember, okay, yeah, this is the section lead, this is the whoever, like, just so I have it all nice and tidy. And then the other thing is, you're going to want to be able to access each person, like, in the editor. So if they're all in the one spot, you might not be able to easily. That's kind of my preference.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah, because if they're like all stacked on top of each other, it's kind of hard to, like, you can select it here, but easier just looking and clicking. Okay, another thing we can do, and when we double click on a section, like on the little tab thing or on the little flag above them as well, does the same thing. This call sign here, we'll start from the top and go down. This is like for code, so don't worry about this like start bit, but where it says call sign, you can change this and it'll say that like call sign on the map that you see, that's what this is. For some reason, now don't freak out if you're in like the lobby, like when you're like selecting slots and stuff, it won't say the correct call sign. It's just an Arma thing. It'll say it correctly once you're in game. I don't know why it does it. It just does. Pretty annoying. So if I do that, that changes the call sign for the whole section, and you can see it up there. If I double click on it again, you can change other things. So if we go ACE options, you can disable Blue Force tracking, which is like the marker on the map that like moves around that you can see. We don't need to worry about that. Worry about that. We saw that playable. Role description, basically, you know when you join the deployment server and it says like 3-1 or whatever, 3-1 Bravo or Raven or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it says that information, you enter that in here. So because I've selected the whole section, if I go Alpha, Marksman, and I click OK, everyone is going to be an Alpha Marksman. If I double click on each individual person. So you don't want to, generally you don't want to do your role descriptions for the whole section. I will click on each unit and say, okay, you are Alpha Lead. Oh my god, lead. And then I'll be like, oh, this guy, I want him to be Alpha 2 IC. And then if we click multiplayer, we can see in here, I know it says Alpha 1-1 and it should say ATOG. This is what I mean. Once you're in game, it'll say ATOG. But so we got Alpha Lead, Alpha Marksman, Alpha 2 IC. And all the others are still Marksman because I didn't change it. But you see how you can change the role names. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to edit the arsenal, like the loadout of like a individual dude, or I can change the whole section, but for now I'll show you just the individual dude. So what I do is I right click on the unit, and then I go down to edit loadout, and because we have ACE, we can use the ACE arsenal or the BI arsenal. BI virtual arsenal is just like the vanilla arsenal. You won't have your ATOG loadouts in the vanilla arsenal because we use the ACE arsenal. So I'm going to click ACE arsenal. I prefer it because it has a search bar. It just has like better statistics, stuff like that. So this is just like a normal arsenal. If I wanted, I could literally load my kits from op in here. And click apply. And boom. It will now have the kit. If I load in on the server and choose this slot, I'll load in with the kit. That's as simple as that. It's pretty straightforward. Now, if I wanted to change the kit for the whole section, I just select the whole section, right clicking on anyone, edit, loadout, ACE arsenal, and then, I don't know. Sure, let's load this one. And then it won't change everyone because I'm only previewing this guy, but once I click apply, all of them have changed. See? Kind of useful. The other thing is, they don't have to be in the same section. So if you're like doing multiple selection things, like you can select one guy from here and one guy from here. How I'm doing that is, I click on someone and then I hold control and click on someone else. And that'll like select others. So I can hold control again and click on whoever I want. And then if I edit their loadouts, close and then apply, only the ones I've selected changed.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Next thing we will talk about is with these units. So say I like this section. I like you know, like what the equipment and stuff they've got. I just want an extra person in this unit. So say for example I want this guy to join this unit, but he's in another group. So what you can do is, if you click on the unit that you want to join the group and hold Alt, oh no, not Alt, Control, hold Control, hold mouse 1 on the person, drag it onto the like leader of the team, let go, and that puts them into the group. So show you again. I have this lone dude, hold Control, hold mouse 1 on the dude's little icon, and drag it over to the leader, release, and now he's in the group. That's a little thing you can do. And then how I'm removing him from the group, there's like these little blue lines. If you hover your mouse over them, they turn white. If I click delete on that line, he gets ejected from the group and creates his own group. So there's that. And then I'm just going to put him back in his section. Next thing we're going to talk about is vehicles. So a lot of vehicles, or most vehicles by default, say if you go to the objects blue 4 and then you can select like APC, boats, cars, any of these, we'll go in ATV and I click on it, and then I don't have to hold it down, I just click on it and then I click anywhere and it'll spawn it. By default, it'll spawn people in it. But I don't want this dude. He's from the future, right? We're not using these assets, but I want his car. So what you can do is you can click just above the play button. You can click plays vehicles with crew, untick it, and then if I spawn the same thing again, it won't have the unit in it. That's a little thing. Also, I should have mentioned this. When I spawned this with the dude in it, how I took him out, I just click and drag on his little icon, and I just pull him out of it. And then if I want to put him back in, I can click and drag and put him onto the vehicle icon, and you see how it's like highlighted the vehicle? If I release, he goes in. Well, that's how I do that. Alright, so now we're going to set these guys up for our mission. So I'm just going to delete them because I changed up their loadouts and shit. So our mission's going to be at this minefield. Just north of this town here. Alright, so we want in objects. Oh no, actually we're going to go compositions because we want to spawn like the sections worth. We're going to go SOCOM, infantry, and then we'll spawn at like maybe 3 elements. If you didn't know, like if you hold shift and then hold click on like something, that's the rotate. If I wanted to individually rotate, I just have to, because it's got everyone highlighted, I just click off them and then click on the one person and I can turn them. The other one you probably want to know is hold Alt and hold click, and then you can change elevation. But yeah, I'm going to copy, paste, spawn 3 of these just to be sure. I might move them a little bit closer. This'll do. Okay. Now. Can someone... Wait, you guys got your games open?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Can someone talk me through how I changed these guys to playable slots? Anyone can do it.
Alright, so you can basically double click them.
Mm-hmm.
So you double click one, for example, and then you in control, there should be a tab called control.
Mm-hmm. Tab control.
And playable, you tick that.
Cool.
Yep.
There you go.
And then they're all playable.
Sweet.
You can also highlight all of them, right click and click attributes, and then you can do the same thing for all of them at once.
Yep. You can do that. So double clicking and right clicking and attributes, that's the same thing if you guys didn't know. So just the shortcut. Cool. So now these guys will all come up in the role selection screen, like when I join the server. Cool. We might just add like another. Actually, we'll add a little like sniper element, just to get fancy.
Nomad.
Yeah. I don't know whether it's like OCD or something, but I just like forming them up nicely. Okay. Alright, what if I want to change the call signs on these guys so I know like who's who?
So for call signs we go to, well, we can change section and then the actual role of them.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, the section one doesn't work, does it?
It does work. It does work.
Oh,
it just
it
doesn't show it in the lobby. It'll show it on the map though.
You do so if you want to change an entire section, you select one squad, you go to attributes. Yep, and then in composition there should be a call sign. So right now it's alpha 14, so you can change that to whatever you want. So for example alpha 11, yeah, like you, or you can change it to ATOG, and then they'll.
What do we want to call this section? What do we call this section?
Section.
Meal Team 6.
Sorry?
Meal Team.
Meal?
Yeah.
As in like MEAL?
Yeah. Have you not seen that meme?
No.
Oh, fuck. I'll show you.
We'll go Meal Team 1, 2, 3 because we have 3 sections.
That's Meal Team 1, and then change the
I'll change
individual role. It's the same as last time, control and then role description, and you can change that for each individual unit.
this.
So for example, you change this and you go to role description.
So let's have a look at this. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Jesus
Look at
Christ.
that.
Jesus. Alright, cool. So because we have 3 sections and they're all gonna be the same, I like to just select the people who are gonna be the same role and change their role descriptions.
Squad lead, so
Yeah, I'm just gonna call this Echo. That's fine. We know what we're doing there. What do we want to call these guys? Marksman team.
nomad.
Alright, sweet. Cool. Now we're not gonna spawn any enemy units. Just because we're gonna spawn that stuff in Zeus. We're not gonna worry about it now. Why I do that? One, if it's done in the mission file, it's kind of painful to do afterwards. Whereas if I do it in Zeus, I can kind of tailor it to how many people I have, stuff like that.
So would you you'd set up just like all the objective markers and all that in the editor first, save the mission file, then you just add obviously all the players and all that stuff in after?
Yeah, you can do
Yeah,
that. You can even do the objective markers in Zeus if you want.
Okay.
So
just
you
do
need
it
to change it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Talking about Zeus, are you gonna teach us
I
how to
will.
put
Please,
a
because me and
Zeus-
Yeah.
Job couldn't figure it out the
Yeah,
other
I
day.
will.
Well, we figured it out.
Yeah,
kind of.
after 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you guys. Cool. So we've got our units down. This is technically a playable mission. Technically. So the next thing I want to talk about is structures. So like buildings and stuff. So I showed you if we click objects and go props, there's like a whole fuck ton of objects in this game. And then you add cup stuff as well. It just adds so much more because the cup is like all the Arma 2 assets. So like this is a building straight out of Arma 2. You can spawn anything, dude. Like there's so much available to you. You can get real creative. Like say this building here, right? I like this building, but it's kind of empty. Like if I go like up here, it's like pretty boring, right? Say I want to add like a table. I can search table. Oh, don't press enter like me because I'm used to Zeus. Oh yeah, camping table. Let's put a table in here. All right. This is like where it turns into like Sims. Right?
Sims.
Yeah. Right? Fuck. Laptop. Let's put a laptop in here too. Yeah, cool. And then we're gonna have like some Intel. No, it's like folder of Intel or something. No. What's it called? Intel?
Document.
Document, that's the one. Look at that. Right? You can do so much shit with these props. And you can just like I like to like mainly focus on like the spawn area, like where they'll spend most of the time like looking around. Just make it look alive. Like you can add like a fire barrel wherever campfire, or like a burning one, or you know, and then like you add some camp chair, search chair, you know, stuff like that. Like make it look like people actually are there, because at the moment it's kind of boring. That's the props. Now, if you're lazy like me and you don't want to have to like build little campfires and bullshit like that, you have this tab, compositions. If you go to props in the compositions, you get all these options. Now, if you have a look through these in your own time, but there's so much shit there. Like if I go camp, look at that. I spawn it and it has like all this shit already done for me. If I don't like it exactly, I don't have to use exactly that. I can like get rid of this shit. Make it my own. You know, I don't want the sandbags because they're in a sort of compound already. I don't need sandbags. And then like move this around like that. Maybe move this a little bit closer. You know, just it's already done for you. It's pretty good. There's so much shit like military bases, roadblocks. Let me find a flat area. See? Stuff like this. So that's already done for you. If you don't want to have to build your own base and stuff, you can do that. Say this composition, you can add like your own objects. Like say I don't want the campfire. You use a burning barrel, whatever. Because keep in mind, like everyone who owns Arma 3 can spawn these in. So everyone's seen these compositions like a million times. That's why you kind of want to change it up a bit and make it not so familiar. Now, if you want to use not so familiar ones, you can use custom compositions, which you can get off the workshop and you can upload to the workshop. You can save your own compositions, so say you make something cool in the editor and you want to save it, you can save it and use it later on. So like I've saved a truck. I click on it and spawn it, and boom, there's the resupply truck. So there's a lot you can do with these custom things. With the workshop, I downloaded a military base.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah, it's fucking massive. It might lag when you spawn it initially. Yeah, it's lagging. There we go.
Jesus Christ.
Look, you might not actually recognize it. And I'll quickly show you how to save a composition if you want. Or are you guys good?
I would like it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
actually would
please.
like to know that. That'd be nice.
Okay. So I'm just gonna place down random shit. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, not a rabbit, maybe. Structure, city. Okay, house. Cool. I like this wrecked building and house. Alright. I want to save this. Okay. What I'll do is, I'm in my compositions and custom. I select what I want to save. And only what I want to save. Otherwise, you'll save other shit that you don't want. Then here, it says save new custom composition from currently selected entities. Click. And then you can title it whatever you want, like shit house. Category. This just puts it under like what you want. Oh, shoot house. Okay. Boom. Now on the right, you can see shit house. And I can spawn 1,000,000 of these. And if I change mission file, it'll be there. One thing to note with these is that they don't transfer across into Zeus, because there are custom compositions for Zeus, but you can't use these ones in Zeus. So editor ones are for the editor, and Zeus ones are for the Zeus. Just so you guys know, you don't build something and then think you can put it into Zeus. Cool. And then you can publish it to the workshop. So say I click on it, publish a workshop. Where's my... We go to the workshop and have a look. God. We can go compositions here. And look, there's so much shit already made. Like, what is this? That's a cool base. I'm gonna download that. Downloads. And there it is. It just appeared here. Oh my god. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, whatever. Boom. Okay, well, it's a little bit wonky, but that's okay. But yeah, anyway, okay. I digress. This is spawning shit from the workshop. Happy? We all on the same page?
Yep.
Cool beans. Now, like Dante said, there's a few things we want to do when we have objects spawned, because when you have a lot of objects, it can cause issues with the server if you have too many objects, because each object has like a simulation. So it's like affected by damage, by wind, you know, it has to have physics and all that bullshit, right? I don't need physics for a fucking lantern, right? I don't care. No one's touching it. It's out of the way. So what we can do is we just select everything, like all our objects and shit, right click on it, attributes, and then we'll go down and special states, object special states, and we have a couple options here. So enable dynamic simulation. What this means is, you know how I just said that everything has like simulation? What it does is, if you're like a certain distance away from it, like the object itself, it'll disable the simulation on it, meaning it's not having any effect on the server. It's not even like registering it as a thing. But once I get close enough to it, then it'll be like, oh, okay, I'm now active, I need to simulate. That's basically what dynamic simulation means. If I want to just turn it off completely, I can just untick enable simulation. Now, because this shit is useless, I'm not going to be touching it. I'm just going to disable simulation. Simple object. You can only use simple object on some things. It just helps with performance as well. So yeah, it says significantly saves performance. Yeah. So if you can set simple objects on things, you do it. But I warn you, try and avoid like disabling simulation on stuff that people will actually interact with, like a building or vehicles, stuff like that, because then people can't actually interact with them if they have simulation disabled. So like if there's a building with doors and they need to enter the building, they can't enter the building if it has no simulation. That's just something to keep in mind of. And this is all about optimization and shit. It's kind of advanced, but it's good habit to get into. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. We're done with structures. Now, the juicy part. We're going to go and spawn in props, in objects props. We're going to search supply. And we're going to use the default arsenal that everyone fucking uses. The same supply box. I don't know how this became like the norm, but everyone just uses these boxes and they know it's an arsenal. So we're going to spawn a couple of these. We want these to be our arsenals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them all. Right click, attributes. Alright. I'm going to scroll all the way down and click equipment storage. Scroll down, and I'm going to clear it because I don't want anything in those boxes that they shouldn't have. That's the one thing that you want to do. The next thing is I'm going to send a code and paste it into this init box, object init, and it should look like this. All right, and that's it. I just press OK. And because it had all the boxes selected, they're all ace arsenals now. If I click multiplayer, and make sure you test these before you do your mission. The main things to test is Zeus, Arsenal, and respawns. Ace interact, Arsenal. There you go. So that's for the ace one. I like exclusively use the ace one, to be honest.
I used to set a rabbit as my ace arsenal. Like when I was in VR, it would just be a rabbit.
Yeah, you can set, so it doesn't, like I was saying, everyone uses these supply boxes. It doesn't have to be the supply box. I could make whatever for gaming
The arsenal
set.
runs away.
I could make this an arsenal. I could make a person an arsenal if I wanted to. Like yeah, you can do anything. You just chuck that script or that line of code into the init, and it makes it an arsenal. Pretty straightforward. Alright, now say I've done that. That is for a full arsenal, okay? So unlimited, you can use whatever you want. Now, as you know, on our deployment server, we have a limited arsenal. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So I'm going to select my boxes again, so I'm changing it for all of them and I don't have to do it later. Attributes. And I'm going to get rid of this code. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click Ace Arsenal. And then you'll be greeted with this. With the Ace Arsenal, this is like where you whitelist and blacklist. You don't need that script in there if you're doing it through this. What we recommend is using the whitelist only. Don't use blacklist. And as much of a pain as that is, blacklist is a bit bugged. Sometimes people will be able to access the full arsenal still. So only use whitelist. And what you do is you just click on the categories and you can choose what you want in the arsenal like that. And then you press OK and it's in the arsenal. The shortcut I was doing there is just using my arrow keys. And if I click left, it'll get rid of it. If I click right, it'll put it in. If I want AKs, oh my god. If I want all this crap in the arsenal, it's in there. With ammo, what I recommend is just clicking on this ammo thing and add compatible items, boom, and it'll add the ammo already. Same with like attachments and shit, you can do that. Just to add the majority of the stuff that you're going to be using. And then you can filter through it later and remove stuff you don't want. The other thing is you can export and import. It'll like, if you click export, it'll like copy it to your paste, like your copy board or whatever it's called, whatever. Yeah, so it'll copy it to your like copy board, and then if you click import, it'll paste from your thing. So that's how you do that. What I did from NARM, like for my mission files, is when I had edited the arsenal, I clicked export and I opened a Google Doc and I pasted it in the Google Doc, so I have a copy of the arsenal somewhere. But yeah, I click OK and that's set up. That should have a blacklist, I believe. Arsenal, yep. Oh, whitelist I should say, but yeah. There we go. Okay. Almost there. Next one is Ace Logistics settings. So, for rearming, refueling, and resupply, how we do it is for rearming, like vehicles and stuff. We use the vehicle ammo NATO, and you just have your vehicle or whatever next to it, Ace interact with it, and it'll give you ammo. Now with this, oh, yeah, just set that to 999. And then for fuel, you don't have, like, you can make basically anything a fuel. Like a fuel tank thing. Usually we use like trucks and stuff for this Yeah, so fuel volume, it says here, if you do -1, it's disabled, -10 is infinite, or you can set like, oh, you're only allowed 8,000 liters or whatever. Just do -10, because it makes it easier. Medical facilities. So medical facilities are usually the places that allow you to use your pack, like your, if you're allowed to use a pack. So let's go tent. Screw it, we're gonna use it hangar, because why not? Anyone inside this space, like if I click on it, anyone inside that like box will be inside a medical facility. If I double click on it, scroll down, go to ACE options, click medical facility. And as you can see, same thing, repair facility, it's now both a medical and repair facility. It's just that easy. Just that easy. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool beans. Don't forget to put down a medical tent. You can do it later on in Zeus, but it's kind of just good to be prepared with that sort of stuff. Because you might be focused on, you know, preparing the mission and stuff. You don't want to be worrying about that. Alright, now the respawns. The part that gets a bit confusing. There's a couple ways to do it. I'm going to show you my way. Alright? So, we're going to go system. No. We're going to go markers. We're going to go system. We're going to go empty. And we're going to place this down where we want our respawn to be. So I want it to be just here. That's fine. Now, I'm going to double click on it. And see how it says marker _0? I'm going to delete that and change it to respawn, no caps, _ west. And then I press OK. So respawn _ west. And don't make sure it's in the variable name.
Do you say empty as well, saying yeah?
Yeah, the empty marker.
Yeah, sweet.
So press OK. So in markers, system, empty, place it down, double click on it, variable name. Make sure you do the variable name. If you do it in text, it won't work. Okay. Now, it's not done yet, because if I tried to do this now, I would not respawn. The next thing you need to do is go to attributes in the top, multiplayer, and here where it says respawn, you need to change this, because by default it's on disabled. So you just go to the death screen and that's it. You need to change this, and we're going to put it to respawn on custom position. And you can see there it says if it's respawn _ west, blue 4 will spawn there. So set that. Now, you get a few like rules you can set. What I do by default, a spectate, which is what we use in our normal ops. A spectate, show respawn counter so people can see how long they've got, and then respawn delay. So this is like how long it takes for them to respawn. So I don't know, 15 seconds. Oh wait, no, yeah, that's minutes. Not 15 minutes. 15 seconds. Whatever you want. Show scoreboard, up to you whether you want people able to see the scoreboard or not. Manual respawn, you want to leave that ticked. Because sometimes like people will be bugged out and they just need to manually respawn. So just leave that. Revive, I would disable this because we use ACE. And then just click OK. And now that respawn works. Any questions with the respawn?
More simple than I expected, not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was a lot more coding going into it.
Nah, super easy. Alright, we happy to move on?
Yep.
Okay. we're going to go through these settings in the top here. So we'll start with general. So in attributes general, you can set the title of your mission, the author, all that jazz. You can even put a picture there. I'm not going to show you how to do that now, but it can be done. Required DLC, I untick that because the mission doesn't require DLC. Overview, don't worry about it. Loading screen, you can put a picture for the loading screen. States, I don't touch this because you don't need it. Unlock, don't worry about it. Init, don't worry about it. MISC. This can be pretty important for your mission depending on what your situation is, but it's independence allegiance. So at the moment, because we got the handshake with the blue, it means independent forces, the green forces, are friendly with blue 4. But they're hostile to Op 4. So they're basically on blue 4's side. If you click it, it means everyone is hostile to everyone. So independent will attack Op 4 and everyone will attack each other. So usually you'll leave it like that and click OK. You can change it in the mission, like in Zeus, but yeah. Next one, environment. This is where you can set the date, month, day, the time of day you want it to be. Yeah, so with the if I click Intel up here as well, it will take me to the same thing. Yeah, it uses like real life moon phases and shit like that. And the reason why they do that is because the amount of light available at night will depend on the phase of the moon, and all that jazz. So kind of keep your mind on that. See here it says on Monday, the 9th of March 2009 is a full moon. Amazing. So that's environment, and you can set like rain, overcast, fog, lightning, wind, waves. You just have to play with that stuff. I can't really teach you it. It's just something that you just mess about with. Performance. This is talking about like cleaning up dead bodies and shit like that. By default, it's off. It's up to you if you want to touch it. I would not touch it unless you know what you're doing. And enable dynamic simulation. You want to leave that on because say I've turned some props to dynamic simulation. That means that they will disable simulation when I go 500 meters away and shit like that. Next one. Performance, we did that. Tools. This is just like some stuff that you can use. I wouldn't really worry about it. Like camera. Take some screenshots for your mission or whatever. Settings. Okay, so settings is based off your like normal game settings. So well, this is preferences for the editor. So auto save time, 15 minutes, whatever you want. Untick that. You can change your speed of your camera and shit, whatever you want. Video settings is like whatever you have set already. Audio settings is whatever you have set already. Game options. Now, what we use for our server is custom. We use custom. So whatever you set here generally is what will be played on the mission file. Just so you know. And then the other one is add-on options. So, as the name implies, add-on options are all the settings for your mods. So, you'll have to go through here and change it to what you want in your own time. I'm just going to cover the main things that we do. Ace hearing. What we like to do, ace unconscious volume. By default, that's like 0. I'm pretty sure. We change it so that people can hear voices while they're unconscious. It's a little thing. Medical settings, you're going to want to change these to whatever you want. I have a preset already made for whatever I'm doing. Let's just load this one, for example. This is not the actual settings, this is old. Okay, well, I don't have the actual settings on here, but just read through this stuff. Like, if you need help with these medical settings and stuff, just let someone know, but it's kind of just a trial and error sort of thing. Night vision settings, holy shit, if you're going to do a night op, make sure you change these settings. For the love of God. By default, this aim down sight blur is so bad. Like, you can't use your scope at all. So just keep that in mind. Spectator, a spectator. We use first person camera only. So you can't, like, third person someone that you're spectating while you're dead. Just so that you can't metagame, or it's harder to metagame. Acre 2, that's pretty standard. Yeah. You just gotta have to play through these. But that's add-on options. Okay, and then lastly, we're going to talk about modules. So the Zeus module, the most important one for us, at least. We're going to go to Systems, Modules, click Zeus, and Game Master. Or you can just search Game Master, it's up to you. Now, say we want these snipers, for example, to be Game Masters. And we're going to make 2 just so you can see how you make 2 Game Masters. So I'm just going to make 2 of these. Now, how I do it is a bit redundant, but it's just to make sure. Step 1. Double click on one of your units. Variable name. You can make it whatever you want. For simplicity, I do Z1 and change the other one to Z2. Okay. Now, on this Game Master module, I'm going to double click it, and where it says owner, I'm going to make Z1 the owner of it. Right? And then here for default modules, we'll change it to include unofficial ones. That's it. Press OK, and theoretically speaking, this guy will have Zeus. If I go, this guy is Z2, Z2, unofficial, okay. The other thing you can do is sync to. If you like right click on the module, connect sync to, and then click on the player that you want it connected to. You can do that as well. That's fine, it doesn't do any harm. You can do both. I do both. Just make sure you save as well. But that's it. These dudes will have Zeus. So if I, yeah, I'm not going to start my game because it's going to waste time. Trust me, they work.
Yeah, they do work.
The other thing, radios, if you're using ATOG, you might want to use these modules, and on the name channels, you can change all the names of the channels. Usually you want to just have it on all, it doesn't matter. But with basic mission setup, if you're having like a PvP mission, you want to make sure channels per side is probably enabled. It just means like people aren't listening to each other's radios and they're on opposite teams. But the Babel language, I would leave, to be honest. Actually, usually it's no Babel, but anyway. That's Acre. Are there any others I need to cover? Fortify. I'm pretty sure with Fortify you'd need the module down. So it's in ASEX. Yeah. And then you can like change the budget if you want, so they can't just build an infinite amount of whatever. But we don't use Fortify. But that's something you can do. Alright. That's it. That's all I have for you. Is there any questions or anything that I've missed out that you want to know?
All good.
No worries. Well, with that, if you guys are planning on doing missions, if you want to write this down or put it somewhere or just remember it, there's 3 things we need from you if you're going to be doing an unofficial op. Because, like, we need to be able to put it on the server for you to run it and stuff like that. So, 3 things. 1, a mission file. So, oh fuck, that's what I forgot to show you. We need a mission file zipped. And send it to us over Discord, and we can put it on the server. 2 is a HTML mod list. We need to know what mods we need to put on the server because we might need to download them. And 3 is a briefing. It's optional, you don't have to do a briefing, but ideally, yes, a briefing please. But yeah, it's up to you. But at least the first 2, because otherwise we can't do anything. Yeah. I will now show you how to get your mission file and to send to us. So I've made this mission, it's ready to go. If I click scenario, I've already saved it, so I click export and export to multiplayer. Now it says it's in my Arma 3 missions file. It's actually in my documents. So documents and then other profiles and then whatever profile you're using for your missions. And then because I've exported to multiplayer, it's MPMissions folder. And I have a whole bunch of shit in there. But there it is, lesson Pakistan. And then all you need to do is zip that file and send it to us.
Yes.
Sweet ass. Any questions before we wrap it up?
Make a HTML mod list.
Okay. I will just fuck it, I'm just gonna Alt F4. So you do it in your Arma 3 launcher. So you have all the mods you want. They have to be like selected and loaded. You click more, and then you click export list of mods to a file, and then click only loaded mods, and it'll do that. And then you name it, and then you send it. So you do it.